This is Mark Bell, the People's Coach from SuperTraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West, answering more questions today for the Power Project. We got a couple good ones to get to today. I'm just going to try to go through a few as I'm getting many questions, which is awesome. I'm just sitting here in my underwear, by the way, doing the Power Project, eating some eggs and bacon, and I got some, what I got over here, some supplements in there. Some legal, some possibly not, and a thing of sludge over there. That thing of sludge is a coffee with a little bit of heavy cream. But I make my own kind of concoction. I take heavy cream, water, and whey protein, mix it all together, and I leave it in the fridge. It's got like 300 grams of protein in it or something like that, and I just use a little bit of it. So it's kind of like my own version of a creamer, I guess you'd say. Anyway, we got questions to answer. Ash Wilsey, 10, off of YouTube, says he's a big fan of the Power Project, which who can blame him? He's a big fan of SuperTraining.tv, who can blame him? He's a big fan of mine, again, who can blame him? But he has a question about the deadlift, and he's wondering if it's okay to do a deadlift, to start the deadlift before you ever start to even pull, to bend down to the bar with a rounded back. And that, I got some schmutz on my hat. Gotta look good, right? Maybe I should just wear a mask. That might help. That is actually the way that I prefer to see people deadlift. I like to see people use their hips, turn the deadlift into a hip movement, and bring your, just bend straight from the hips. Grab the barbell. It looks like to me you're talking about conventional pulling. Bend from the hips, kind of get straightish legs. Try to cut back into those hamstrings, push back into those hamstrings. Watch Benedict Magnuson, he's the king of it. He makes room for those big, gigantic legs of his, and he really pushes back. He actually rolls the bar into himself too, which is kind of a more advanced technique, but unbelievable the way the guy gets into position for weighing nearly 400 pounds. It's just unprecedented. So you should really watch that. It's a piece of art watching him pull. But the way that you're talking about dropping into your deadlift and getting tension and everything, all that sounds fine. Just make sure that you're really using the bar to create tension and to create better leverage. I see too many people they'll bend at the waist, they'll grab the bar, and then they'll just randomly squat down. But they didn't really use the barbell to pull themselves down. You can kind of simulate some of this in a rack by doing almost more like an isometric. You can set some pins up so that you can't move the barbell. And you can grab the barbell and just sit back into a position, and you're going to start to see where your hips should be and start to get a better feel for what the hell I'm always talking about. Remember, in a deadlift, it's not 0 to 100. You want to go from about 40 to 100 or 50 to 100. Get those RPMs up a little bit before you start to pull that weight. On to the next question here. I had a question recently about, somebody asked why I answer questions about deadlift. And they think there's other people out there that are better deadlifters, which, by the way, is not true. Actually, I've mentioned that many times. I am not the authority on any of this stuff. Actually, I am just speaking off of my own experiences and experiences of my team. 1,080 squat, 854 bench, and a 766 deadlift, all done in competition. If those numbers aren't good enough for you, then fuck off. But on a more serious note, I have contact with every top powerlifter in the world. Every top powerlifter in the world. My form of media, Power Magazine, is the only powerlifting magazine, the only strength-geared magazine in the world, pretty much. I mean, there's some exceptions. There's some pieces of shit floating around out there. But other than that, Power Magazine is the king. And so that makes me a good resource on strength, whether it's talking about squatting, deadlifting, or benching. I have actually never thought of myself as a squatter, and I was able to over a period of time work that squat up and get it up there with some of the best of them. And I'm going to continue to work on making progress there, and also in the deadlift. I believe in the next meet I can pull about 815 or 820, but that's just all talk for now. We'll have to see what happens. My deadlift form has improved, my strength has improved, and a lot of that has been through hard work, dedication, talking to the top guys in the world: Ed Cohn, Super D, Donnie Thompson, Dave Hoff, AJ Roberts, you name it, I got their number. And so that's where my credibility comes in. Let's see, we have somebody who, man, some of you guys kill me. Some of these questions are long. This guy says he's torn his biceps, and he's kind of wondering, my deadlift is up, but I'm still having grip issues due to my hand. One thing I would suggest, anybody who has an injury out there, especially something with the bicep, and you're talking about deadlifting, make sure you're just going really light, like just get into the 60% range, and maybe get in a little bit of repetitions, sets of 3, sets of 5. Make it easy on yourself until you start to feel better. As they say, pain will subside. It doesn't last forever. And it doesn't matter how bad it hurts. It doesn't matter if it's emotional or if it's physical. Pain will subside. All pain will go away and be replaced by something else at some point. So hang in there, buddy. Keep the deadlifts light. And it sounds like to me like you're saying you have a meet coming up. So with that being said, I would take a very light opening deadlift. Let's see. Okay, you're talking about deadlifting in the mid-4s. So what I would do is I would start out with a 295 pull. I'd go to like 340, and then I'd go to like 405. Why push it? Why smash your arm? If you have an opportunity to get a PR total, then maybe go ahead and push it a little further. Let's see what else we got here. Another big fan of the Power Project. Again, who can blame him? This guy's name is Bear Hill. Anybody with bear in their name, you got to be really careful nowadays. Especially nowadays. Lots of bears out there. By the way, I set a PR this morning. I weighed 264.5 pounds. That is a PR. My body weight has been up and down over the last couple of days. I was sick for a little while, and things got really screwed up with my diet. I could not diet. There was no possible way that I could eat meat while my stomach was nauseous. So I just ate what I had to eat. Snickers bars, and wherever else I could manage to hold down. I know it sounds retarded, but the more processed something is, the better I seem to hold it down. It's probably the fat guy burning inside me. So this guy's a Power Project fan, a raw lifter, super heavyweight. How do I strengthen up my lower back for my deadlift? I've done 650 in competition, 700. 700 is goal. Okay, so what you want to do to strengthen the lower back, you have many options out there. And I'll answer another question I got recently about a good morning. Somebody said they can't really do good mornings. Every time they do it, they just get this crazy burning in their back. Well, if that's the case, then I would say, don't do them. But there is a right way to do a deadlift, and there is a wrong way to do a deadlift. Let's again talk about head positioning, because in the good morning is where you're going to see it the most profound out of anything, because as you go to lean forward, it feels like that barbell is going to roll off your back. And so people want to do this with their head. So let's be careful of that. Let's keep a more neutral head position. If you don't have a cambered bar, then good mornings get to be more and more difficult. If you don't have the ability to suspend the good morning and do a suspended good morning out of chains, out of a rack, then it even becomes worse. If you don't have a buffalo bar, a cambered bar, some sort of specialty bar, it makes it hard. You don't want to crazy arch your back. I'd leave your back kind of more neutral, and I would really hinge off of those hips. So keep the weights light. and do them the right way, do them the correct way. And for you to strengthen your lower back, I'm a big proponent of thinking of the good morning as more of an assistance movement, an accessory movement. Now that does not mean you can't go heavy on it. That does not mean you have to be a pussy about it. You could still ramp your way up to sets of 3 or something, but I like to kind of do it more in a fatigued state. So what I'll do is I'll do sets of 10, and then I'll bring it down to sets of 8, and sets of 6, and sets of 4, and so on, until I get towards my end sets, and at that point, I'll maybe do triples or singles or doubles with something heavy, but it's only like one set. Good mornings can be quite dangerous. The risk-to-benefit ratio is not very good. That's why many people out there never suggest to do any singles with it. But I don't have a big problem with it. I have hurt myself on it before, but I'm a fan of lifting like an idiot sometimes. And you have to push yourself. You have to push yourself through these things. The things that you get hurt on are the things that you need to get back to right away. We are running out of time here at the Power Project, but a good morning is a good way to strengthen your back. Zercher squats are a good way to strengthen your back. Zercher harness squats, low box squats. Believe it or not, low box squats or low squats, even Oli squats, can help build up the lower back just because the range of motion is so great. Deficit deadlifts I'm a huge fan of. Make sure you implement some of those. Sets of 3 on those would probably be good. 2 to 3 inch deficit. Somebody asked a question about, deadlifting off of a massive deficit. Not really recommended, especially for you guys that are newer. If you're more intermediate or more advanced, you can go off of something higher. But be careful with that. It's going to make you lift like shit, which I'm a fan of, but you got to be careful. So we're out of time here at the Power Project. Strengthen up that lower back. And I got a quick cliffhanger for you. And you can win a Sling Shot if you answer this one the right way. Who created the term or the phrase, making the world a better place to lift? And that is it from supertraining.tv. I'm out.